I know people hate this, but we're doing it anyways. And what I'm talking about is laying some plastic weed fabric on our garden beds. And I'm going to tell you exactly why we're doing it in this video. I realize this is a bit of a controversial topic in the gardening world, and that is laying plastic weed fabric onto your garden beds over the soil and not feeding the soil. You hear a lot of people say, feed your soil is everything. And I do agree with that. That is very important. But there are some big reasons why we are deciding to lay down plastic weed fabric in certain areas of our property. So this space you see right here, that actually doesn't look that overrun with weeds right now, because I was already out here with the stirrup hoe, hoeing it so that I could really see the base of all of these plants and make sure I'm not missing any of our plants that are coming up out here before I laid the weed fabric. So that's why this particular garden bed doesn't look bad right now. But I'll show you some areas that do look pretty bad. So this particular garden bed that I am laying this plastic weed fabric in, this is a perennial flower garden. So every year these flowers come back and they are gorgeous and they're beautiful. We actually inherited a lot of these with the house. And along with all of those beautiful perennial flowers that come back are a lot of weeds, and in particular bindweed. Bindweed is notorious for being a really big pain and a really hard weed to get rid of. Bindweed can spread by seed and by its root system. A single plant can produce hundreds of seeds, and those seeds can remain viable in the soil for up to 20 years or more. Underground, bindweed develops a taproot that can reach depths of 20 feet, sometimes they say 30 feet, along with spreading rhizomes that can grow several feet in every direction. Even small fragments left behind when pulling this weed can sprout up into a new plant. And on our property, we don't spray any of our weeds, and with that, the other option is to either pull the weeds, cultivate the weeds, things like that, smother the weeds. That's what we're choosing to do right now, and that is one reason why this is an option for us for this particular growing space. Also, this particular growing space, this is kind of just an ornamental thing that is pretty. We enjoy it. It looks nice on the property. I do cut some flowers here for some vases, but otherwise it is not really a production area for us, which is another reason why I'm okay with investing in the weed fabric this year and setting this up so that it's not such a pain as our season progresses, because we do have some crops out in the field out there that are going to require our constant attention, and this will give me a little bit more time back once it's set up, and that is a reason why I'm opting to do that this year. Last growing season, I think I was out here, I think I counted it 12 times, stirrup hoeing every inch of this garden space. And that took me forever. It took so long, and you know, right now it's not super hot, it's not miserable, but sometimes I'd be out here in the heat pulling bindweed, and it ate up so much of my summer that I don't want to do that again. So that's another reason why weed fabric is a good idea in our situation, because it's going to give me some time back where I can use other places, maybe even not in the garden, maybe doing something a little bit more fun. Another option that people really like to talk about is mulching, and we did mulch this heavily with probably 4 inches of wood chips last year. They helped for a little while, but after some time the bindweed just came right up through it. And do you see this over here? This is my husband's apple orchard that he's working to establish. Last year, if you saw on our channel, we laid down a thick layer of cardboard and then a thick layer of mulch over top of that to try to prevent weeds from growing in this particular space. And as you can see, bindweed, a ton of it. Look at those roots. It's so notorious for being so hard to get rid of by hand pulling. And it's everywhere, so I'm just gonna throw it. I know you're not supposed to continue to spread it, but it's literally everywhere here. So you can see that cardboard and wood chips did not work out here, and we're gonna have to do something else out here, and it might just be weed fabric. And this over here is another reason why we decided to do this woven weed fabric, because we've done it before. These are honeyberry bushes behind us, mixed in with some currants and a couple of other things. And when we first moved into this house, they got completely covered up over the top with bindweed. We couldn't even see them. I'm honestly surprised they lived that first growing season, because we had so many other growing tasks going on that these got really overlooked, because they're only producing in the early summer, spring, and then they kind of fall off of our list and they kind of just sit here and hang out. So that next growing season, I decided to put this weed fabric down. And if you see, there's like some burn holes in it because this is recycled weed fabric from a different growing space that we had, but I'm actually going to peek under it right now and see what's going on. All right, here we go. Huh. I mean, you can see the bindweed I covered up when I put this down. Bindweed is still growing in here. Look at that. But man, oh man, this is so much more manageable, and the plants are not smothered. This is also a really thick layer of weed fabric because I tried to overlap it a lot since it was reused. To get landscape staples, 6-inch ones are the ones we use. And I just want to show you what this growing space looks like. I did not come out here and make this look any nicer before filming this video, but it has held up. This is its 3rd growing season. Someday we're going to have to replace it, but look, all of these plants, they're thriving. They're doing really well. And this is an area we honestly just kind of overlook and allow to grow. We do water it. There's a drip irrigation on it right there that goes to every single plant. But otherwise, this area, it's kind of set it and forget it. And that weed fabric makes it able to be that sort of a growing space. So this is what I've done so far. And this is where I'm still continuing to work down here. I am putting this piece of plastic around. Here's an example of around. And over, here's an example of over existing plants, which is a little bit difficult, but definitely doable. And I'm going to make it work. So here starts some of the bindweed. And I want to show you what it looks like out here, because out here I just stopped hoeing it so much because I have to get some of these things out of here, like that old wheel right there. But this is pretty much what the ground looks like normally before I stirrup hoe it. See all that bindweed there? That would take me hours to be out here weeding. And then what's the solution? I weed it, I get in there nice. I'm obviously not doing it right now, but I get in there and I weed it and I pull weeds and I pull bindweed in particular, and then it's back in about a week. I don't want to do that all summer, and that's why weed fabric is our solution. I want to conclude this video by saying that I agree that our soil is very important. We have to make sure we're putting good things into our soil and feeding our soil, and all of those things are wonderful and fabulous, and I love it. But my soil would be no use to me if it can't grow the plants that I'm trying to grow. And if you have a busy schedule, I know I have a busy schedule, there's other things I would rather be doing than weeding. This gives me some freedom, and this makes it so that those plants don't get suffocated by weeds, and we can utilize our soil to grow things that we would like to grow. Right here it's flowers, other places it's produce, which I think is really very important to be able to feed yourself, and weed fabric has helped us be able to feed ourselves in other areas of our property. So chime in the comments. I want to hear your take on weed fabric. Is it worth it for your particular growing space? Maybe you don't have weeds like this and you can weed in other ways that are a lot more effective as far as being able to still feed the soil. This is what we're going to choose to do. I know not everybody's going to agree with me about this, but I do think that there is a time and a place for weed fabric, and I feel like our property has a lot of those conditions, and we're going to go ahead and use it this year. And maybe someday we'll get to the point where we're not using it so much, but right now we are not there yet, so we're going to keep on using it. Let me know your thoughts, and I hope to catch you on the next video, and we'll talk about what we have going on here at the farm.